One of our favorite sponsors is back with us, Sunset Lake CBD.
Yeah.
If you're looking for CBD that actually does what CBD is supposed to do, look no further than our friends over at Sunset Lake.
Let me break it down.
Break it down, Mel.
They're sustainably farmed, meaning they avoid pesticides and use sustainable farming practices to preserve the land for future generations. 1. 2, farm to table. They ship the CBD products straight from their door in Vermont directly to your door wherever you're at.
Now that's cool.
And third party tested. They test everything with a third party to ensure quality, dosage, and safety.
You got to go over and check out sunsetlakecbd.com. They have so many products. Break it down for them, Apple.
Well, they've got some new stuff going on. Like they always had pre-rolls, but now they got really cool packaging for it. And you can get CBD pre-roll flights of all their flavors. You can get the heavy hitter flight that also throws in some of their Keef blunts. They have a new CBD recovery body lotion.
I'm excited about that.
Mm-hmm.
And what was the other?
The other one with arnica.
The extra strength muscle rub, 3,000 milligram with 5% lidocaine.
So look,
Oh, yeah,
if you're
lidocaine.
sore, this is the stuff you want to rub on your body to make those aches and pains go away. They even have CBD infused coffee, so you can have coffee without the little jitter that you get from caffeine, and you have it in the morning and you start your day off right. Your body feels lubricated. You're going to sleep good.
Yeah, and also they have, if you kind of forget to reorder, they've got subscriptions.
And they're giving the No Simple Road family 20% off.
20% off.
Put
with
in the promo code NSR20 when you're checking out at sunsetlakecbd.com. You're going to get 20% off your entire order.
NSR20.
And don't forget those cute little gummy bears.
That's right. sunsetlakecbd.com, one of our favorite sponsors, is back. Hey everybody, when I get the chance, I like to support the Grateful Dead family when they own and operate businesses, and I'm sure you do too. And if you live in Portland or Denver, you know what you can do.
What?
Go to Fire on the Mountain. You can go to Fire on the Mountain because they have the best chicken wings, salads, burgers, pizza, desserts. Mel, help me out.
And merch.
What merch?
They've got some dope socks. They've got t-shirts. They've got some beanies. And if you don't live in Portland, and if you don't live in Denver and are sad, you can totally go to portlandwings.com and order yourself some of those delicious sauces that Apple was just talking about.
No, he wasn't.
No, I was
In the
getting ready to
last-
talk about those sauces.
Wow, Mel, wow, man. What sauce is Apple that you were just talking
you
about?
also go over there, you can check out all their sauces, like their spicy peanut, Jamaican jerk, bourbon chipotle, raspberry habanero, their buffalo sauces, and their constantly monthly rotating special sauces.
That's right. And if you're not down with like the chicken wing hamburger thing, they got plenty of salads and vegan options to make your mouth and your belly feel happy. So go to portlandwings.com or FOTM-PDX or FOTM Denver on Instagram. And if you live in Portland or Denver, 3 locations in Portland, 2 in Denver. It's the bomb, and it's Grateful Dead family owned and operated. Fire on the Mountain.
Leave room for dessert. You know what?
What?
Our amazing sponsor, Shop Tour Bus.
Shop Tour Bus.
They're doing something that I'm having a hard time with.
What, man?
They're coming out with dope shirts so quickly, it's hard to keep up with. It's kind of like when Stephen King started writing books quicker than I could read them.
That's true.
They've come out with so many dope designs lately.
Isn't that better though? And instead of having like shitty stuff coming out?
No, it's absolutely
A bunch of crap.
Yeah, to like have too many good things to choose from. But like, I mean, the wheel in 3 different color variations, the estimated profit, the jackstraw, the addicts of my life, the not fade away. Like they do design so quickly and so well.
You should go to shoptourbus.com and check out what they got going on. Look at these designs that we're talking about when you order them. It comes in an all over print box that is definitely a keepsake to keep your stuff in. And it comes with all kinds of extras in there. And some of you are going to get a Miracle Grateful Dead bootleg cassette tape in your order.
Yeah, and they got restocked with those too. So I think chances are probably better.
Yeah. And they're giving you free shipping when you put in the promo code.
No Simple Road, all one word.
Then you get free shipping from our family and friends over at Shop Tour Bus. So go to shoptourbus.com or at Shop Tour Bus on Instagram. Use the promo code No Simple Road. April 19th through the 23rd, down in Ventura, California, we are going to be celebrating with our Grateful Dead family at Skull and Roses.
Skull and Roses.
Skull and Roses?
I said Skull and Roses.
What?
5 days on the beach.
5 days. That's
5
insane.
days.
On the beach?
5 days.
Holy crap.
2 performances by Phil Lesh and friends.
Wow.
We're going to get a performance from O'Teal Dark Star Orchestra.
How about the Garcia birthday band?
Our
Portland
hometown
favorite.
heroes. Leftover salmon circles around the sun.
And what I'm
dogs in a
really
pile,
excited about is the Latin Dead.
and Boombox. So
Boombox.
this year, there is an expanded Shakedown Street. There's places to cool off out there. There's camping options. Go to, I almost said Shop Tour Bus. Go to skullandroses.com and get yourself some tickets now. Come hang out with No Simple Road. We're going to be there too, man. Just saying.
Yeah, you're in for a special treat. As we said, this is hallowed ground. It is just magical.
Who hollowed it out?
It's like the Grateful Dead,
It's hallowed.
Jimi Hendrix, Janis Joplin. Like so many people have played there. Yeah,
Right on.
yes, it is. Thanks for the
That
correction.
too. It's hallowed too.
Yeah, but
Everybody-
it's like stepping back in time.
It definitely is. If you want to know what a Grateful Dead show was like back in the 80s or 90s, just come with us to Skull and Roses, April 19th through the 23rd. Go to skullandroses.com and make sure to check out wallofnews.love. Every week they have different articles with bands that are playing, and all kinds of really cool stuff is going on over on Wall of News. So go check it out.
Hey everyone, Chris Pandolfi from the infamous String Dusters here to let you know that my podcast, Inside the Musician's Brain, is back on the airwaves for season 4, which means it's time once again to get deep with influential musicians from all across the musical landscape to really understand and translate the lessons of success, failure, inspiration, and hard work that are behind the music and the artists that we love. My guests this season include Rachel Price from Lake Street Dives, Sam Bush, Chris Wood, Chris Funk from The Decemberists, Lindsay Liu, MC Taylor from His Golden Messenger, and more. Check us out, and thanks for listening.
We're so excited to tell you a bit about today's sponsor, Music Masters Collective. They are a nonprofit organization that produces unique music events, providing opportunities for fans and artists to meet and collaborate in an inspired and creative atmosphere.
Music Masters Collective events give you the opportunity to learn from world-class musicians like O'Teal Burbridge, Steve Earle, Richard Thompson, former members of the band, the Milk Carton Kids, Nikki Glaspie, the Fab Four, and Sean Colvin, and so many more.
At an event like the Milk Carton Kids Sad Song Summer Camp happening this July, you can expect immersive classes, evenings of entertainment, excellent food, and a space for a lucky group of folks to learn, co-write, workshop, and perform with like-minded peers, all with the guidance of Kenneth Pattengale, Joey Ryan, and some of their favorite songwriters. This all-inclusive week in the Catskill Mountains of upstate New York is guaranteed to be magical. Scholarships are available and spots are extremely limited, so visit www.sadsongsummercamp.com/simple to learn more. That's www.sadsongsummercamp.com/simple. Check it out. Can't
freaking
just
way.
get edgy because you weren't paying
Gosh.
attention.
So
you got
what?
caught on your phone.
Yeah, I was on my
That's
phone.
the way it goes. That's the way it goes.
I was looking at our commercials.
How are you looking at commercials?
I was looking at our sponsors to
Hey,
see if
now,
there was anything
How are
going
you
on with our commercials.
Hey, this is Apple.
and Mel.
And Aaron.
All right. Welcome back, everybody. We're mixing it up a little.
Hey,
He
now.
got into our triple argument here.
Yeah, man. Welcome to our argument. No, we're just hanging out. Hey,
We're just joshing.
everybody. I am I'm excited this week for two main reasons. The first reason that I'm excited this week is because Mel and I are in Mexico seeing fish right now. That's the
Woo!
it's Friday, and we just got there yesterday, and we're seeing fish, and we're celebrating.
We've got our bathing suits on and our sunscreen, and we're partying.
That's right. We're celebrating our 25th year of being husband and wife, and
of our nuptials.
Yes, of our glorious nuptials.
Looks like you made
Doesn't
it.
that sounds dirty?
Well,
glorious nuptials.
Our nuptials.
You want to see my glorious nuptials?
Ew, don't tell anybody about our nuptials.
And then the second reason that I'm excited, and the most important reason, honestly, is because
the most important.
Our guest for the show is
LP Giobbi
this week. And I have to say that I think that in recent memory, and I think you guys will probably agree with me, I'm going to step out on a limb here.
Okay.
This was our favorite episode we've done in a while.
Yes.
You think so?
Yes. You know how well, of course you know, but for everybody who doesn't know.
Yeah, I'm here. I usually know.
Every time we do somebody that's incredible, it's always like, it's our new favorite. But when we hung up with LP Giobbi, we were like, oh my God, it's our freaking favorite. And somehow she reminded me of my daughter. Somehow she reminded me of everybody that I love in life. Her smile's infectious. Her music, everything about her made us fall in love with her.
Yeah. And it was one of those conversations that was just completely effortless from the jump. It wasn't like, okay, we're going to try and do an interview, and then you start doing the interview, and then halfway through you're like, okay, I found my rhythm, and you're doing it. And then
she was ready to go from the beginning.
The
second we saw her smile on Zoom, and it was on, and it got emotional too.
It got
heavy, it got light, and she's just a ray of sunshine.
And LP, before we get lost up into what we talk about, I'm so proud of you. Thank you for spending time with us, and I cannot wait to hug it out in person sometime.
And I'm going to say my PSA that I've said before, only because this is her episode and this is where it deserves to be. And I just feel like it needs to be said again. You know, there's a lot of static that happened when she came out with her Garcia remix. And through talking to her, when we were done with this interview, for like 2 days afterwards, I couldn't get it out of my head. Like, it really bothered me that our wider Grateful Dead family treated her the way that they treated her. And some. It's not everybody. Well, it was a little bit shocking, and it made me sad.
Was it shocking?
Yeah, it was shocking to me that people would slide into her DMs and be mean.
Unfortunately, that's reality.
No, I get it. But you know what, man? At this point, I'm 51 years old. I'm approaching elder status in the community that I'm a part of. And I just have to say, from my point of view, that you are giving us a bad name if you do that. And that you should just keep your opinions to yourself. It's easy to do. You learned it in kindergarten. If you don't have nothing nice to say, don't say nothing at all. And that's it. Turn the channel, keep moving, do what you got to do, man. Not everybody's going to do something that you dig all the time, and that's okay. You don't have to like everything. I don't like everything, but I don't slide into people's DMs and shit on them when I don't like them. The first rule of being a deadhead is to be kind. Okay. And that's it. And it really, really bothered me because she's from this family. You know what I mean? She's not like some person that saw a Grateful Dead t-shirt in H&M, thought it was cool, put it on, and then remixed Garcia's album. She is born of this family, came from it, understands it, was raised in it, and was doing her best to do something beautiful through her lens of expression. And it's a natural progression. She's the daughter of Deadheads. She grew up on the music. So of course, her representation of what this music is going to come through her in her own way, like it did now. It's not going to be like it was. And it's okay. And not everybody has to like it. I get that. But that people would be mean is in this community is what bummed me out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So don't be mean.
So check it out. If you want to be kind, what you need to do is you need to go over to lpgiobbi.com, check out her site. She has an awesome site that'll link you to pre-ordering. She has a bunch of pre-orders. She has the Young and Sick shirt that is on pre-order. Actually, it started shipping on the 17th, I believe.
Cool.
Because I'm ordering one of those. Her debut album, Light Places, you can order on vinyl. It's coming out May 12th. It also has a link to other merch of hers. Then it also has the link to This Is Fem House. We talk about that in this interview. You'll learn a lot more about what she's doing and what they're doing over there. But that's the way to find out about her stuff. She is, I could sit here for the next 10 minutes and tell you all the places she's going to be playing. You need to go over and look and see when she's coming to your area. And your area could be anywhere in the world. Because she is going all over Mexico, Italy, all over, back and forth. She just bounces around the globe.
That's crazy, man. Can you imagine just like we go to Northwest String Summit and fish for a week, 2 weeks, and we're like, oh, I need a week to recuperate, man. She's bouncing all over the planet.
She's going to be at Coachella. She's going to be at Isla Mujeres.
Oh, wow.
For a stint, actually. Empire Music Festival. A few times in Austin, her current hometown, like
EDC in Mexico.
Ibiza,
yeah, it's crazy. She's blowing up, and it was super cool to get the opportunity to sit down with her now, and in this part of her career, you know what I'm saying, to like encapsulate this moment in time and have this snapshot. And I think you all out there are really going to dig this, man. We had a really good time, and I think you're going to have a good time listening to it. So we're going to work and get you there, but our work consists of doing the business before we take you on. Mel, do you want to start it?
Follow us on several social media platforms.
Ones?
TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter.
Okay.
All right. And then
at No Simple Road.
That's right. And then if you want to go further and deeper and cuter into the No Simple Road fun, nosimpleroad.com. That way you can find out what we're up to as far as like where we're going to be. If you want to grab a show with us. How about if you want to order a cute new t-shirt because yours is a little bit faded.
We have a Young and Sick No Simple Road design up there as well.
That's right. And then also if you want to do a tarot reading with Aaron and myself with the Grateful Dead tarot deck, it is incredible. It's an hour of fun, interesting stuff covered. You get a playlist at the end. What else?
Go to patreon.com/No Simple Road. That is how you can monetarily support the show. That is how we get to continue to do what we're doing right now. We have recently revamped our Patreon. There is patron-only content up there, including Side Roads, which is interviews with the three of us going super deep. And our producer, Corey, is taking care of all of that over there. Also, if you sign up for the $5 tier, you get access to the No Simple Road Discord server, so you can interact with the fellow members of the No Simple Road family and hang out with each other and Discord.
And have fun. Discord.
You Discordian.
And then if you want to, you can go over to Apple Podcasts. You can give us that 5-star, punch that 5 stars and go beyond that. Leave us a review. As we've said before, we got one in January. We haven't had one yet. February's coming to an end quick. Somebody please hook us up. Valentine's thing, something.
Yeah, man.
Whatever you want to call it. But if you want to go beyond that, you can call the Tepid Line.
What do I do with the Tepid Line?
971-808-1524. Is that number 971-808-1524?
Well, Mel, on the Tepid Line, you know, if you felt like it, you could call up. You could do whatever you wanted. You could sing a song. For you, I'd say you could play the banjo. You could sing a song. You could sing a song and play the banjo.
Okay.
You could play the banjo and rap.
Okay.
Yeah, you could tell a cute story like you'd tell Jasper or something. I mean, it's limitless. You could share a recipe, a healthy recipe, an unhealthy recipe.
Tell us about the time you saw LP Giobbi in concert.
Yeah.
How about that?
So you could do whatever you want. Your imagination is the limit.
Yeah, use your imagination. Anyway, if you want to do something that doesn't cost anything other than some air in your lungs and some time with a friend, tell somebody that you know about the show. When somebody I know tells me about something that they think is cool, most of the time, because they know me and I know them, it's right. You know what I mean? So if you like the show, share it with somebody that doesn't know about it. Help us grow the show. Spread the mycelial network of the No Simple Road family so that we can continue doing this and bringing you dope-ass interviews like this one you're about to listen to.
You're going to thank us. You haven't even heard it yet, but you're going to thank us about it.
What was that noise, Apple?
That's the suspense building.
Oh, I thought that was you like burping or.
No.
Oh, okay.
No, I guess I wasn't too clear.
No, you weren't.
Dun, 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 dun,
You're a
dun,
little
dun.
blurry.
Oh,
All right. Ready, everybody?
I'm ready.
Yeah, I'm ready.
Okay, here we go. Without further ado, the No Simple Road crew gives you
LP Giobbi.
Right.
All right. Get my shit together.
Woo.
Totally professional
Tall
too.
order for a Sunday.
Yes. You're on time. You're like
Your sound and your video are
yeah,
working. That
sound
usually
and
takes
video.
3 to 4 minutes with other artists.
We're
So,
like, you're muted.
bottom left corner.
Don't worry, I've been there many a time.
What's happening?
How are you guys?
I'm great. I'm Aaron.
We're stoked. My name is Mel, and then we've got
And then I'm Apple.
Hi, Apple.
Hello.
So, how do you want us to refer to you?
What name? What?
You can call me LP.
LP.
Everybody but my mother calls me LP.
Okay.
Yeah, mom gets special privileges that.
She's like, no, I gave you that name. I'm like, okay, only you.
Fair enough. Well, pleasure to meet you. Where are you?
I am in Austin, Texas.
Okay.
Fun.
You've been a busy person.
It is true. This is one of my first weekends home in, I don't know, like 3 months maybe, and my last until, honestly, I don't know when next.
What?
All right, I'm going to start.
Yeah, you got a busy schedule.
I'm going to start left field. What's your favorite cartoon character?
My favorite cartoon character? Whoa!
Gotta have one.
Okay, just started watching, what is it called? It's about those kids, those teenage kids who have like hormone monsters.
Oh, yeah.
Big Mouth?
Big Mouth.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, not for kids.
The hormone monster of like the main kid.
Oh, God, yes.
He's my favorite.
With the nose.
Okay.
Yeah, got it.
Yes.
Great answer. Yeah,
Yes.
perfect answer. I just was, before we were,
He threw us off with
yeah,
that.
I walked in the room and I was like, Mel, what's your favorite cartoon
It's like,
character?
I don't know. I don't got kids
It's
anymore.
good. It keeps me on my toes. I love it.
Yes.
So,
LP, we're catching you at a time where you are soaring like an eagle. It is such a beautiful thing to see not only a female, but from our our now hometown, but home state, I should say, Oregon, just thriving.
You're in Oregon?
Yeah, we're in Portland. And my son lives.
Oh my God, amazing.
Yeah, my son lives in Eugene, and you were just in Eugene not too long ago. Yes.
Oh my gosh, I love that. Oh, I have such a special connection to that place. I mean, born and raised, obviously, but
Yeah.
the further I've gone away from there and the more I've spread my wings, the more I realize just how special that place is.
Really?
what?
Oh,
How
yeah.
so?
Yeah, because you were just like in New Zealand and all that. So, like, how do you?
There's just something so special about the Pacific Northwest. I mean, some people are beach people or tropical people, and more power to them. But there's something about a deep green tree and a lake, and there's just something special about the mountains. And I grew up on the south side of Eugene, and so when I leave my house to go on a run, it's just like the frame of my run is just these beautiful trees and mountains, and I'm just, every time I'm home, I'm like, I can't believe that this was just normal to me, and I just totally didn't realize how deeply special, and like it just does something for your soul. It's just, I find myself, I have my dear friend Sophie from Sophie Tucker. She's like, you are in your element when you are tapped into Little Forest Leah. And I try to stay with her as much as I can in this industry, and in my creation process. And the Pacific Northwest is just so, I love that place.
Yeah.
I also love the rain.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm one of those people who is like, I'm a type A, overly like, I always have to be going, I always have to be doing something. What's next on the checklist? And when it's raining, you just like finally have this natural state of hibernation, which I think is really, really important for our souls. And it just makes me feel like cozy and not as much pressure. And I miss the rain so much.
We're having a rainy day right now.
Yeah, it's raining right now.
So lucky.
We learned to embrace it too. We all pretty much grew up most of our lives in Las Vegas until June of 2016. Exactly.
Well, let me tell you.
Shit.
And we decided, we took a vacation up here. We were thinking Seattle, and we happened to stop in Portland. And on our way back, stopped in Portland again, and we all unanimously, we're like, Portland. We love the whole.
I would live in Portland in a heartbeat if my partner could handle the rain better. That is so wild to go from Vegas to why were you in Vegas? Tell me about that.
Okay.
So everybody's got a different. Aaron and I are married. Okay, so we've been married for 25 years.
Wow.
And, yes. And Aaron and Apple have been BFFs for 30 plus years.
38 years.
Yeah. Yes.
So we're all super close, and Aaron and I, my daughter had moved away to LA, and she's a cute little actress and model and does all that there. And our son was getting ready to go into high school, and we were just like, Aaron hated Vegas.
I was dying, like quite literally dying in Las Vegas.
Yeah,
I was miserable.
Oh, I can only imagine. I mean, I'm blown away you survived that long.
Yeah.
I didn't do it well being so fair skinned. I hid from the sun most of my life.
Yeah, it was rough.
Well,
And
honestly, I thrived.
she was the only one.
Did it well.
I loved it. I had an amazing career. I loved my friends. I could drive to LA to visit my baby so quickly. It was dope. But Aaron, on the other hand, like,
There it goes.
It worked, babe. He was working outside when we were there, and it just Vegas is. Well, I'm sure you've been.
I mean, you guys have only talked about the weather, but like, what about the vibe of that place?
So,
Well, yeah, she has been.
okay.
I was just watching your EDC performance earlier today from last year, and so you've been there. I
Yeah.
mean, it
And
is.
ABC it's a whole other beast at that time, but
Yes.
I just I've been there too. To remember so the very first time I ever went there, I was in college. I was at studying jazz piano performance at UC Berkeley, and I had just discovered Daft Punk and Radiohead at the same time.
What?
I was a late bloomer, and I was raised by deadheads who were like, "This is the only music that exists." So when I left for college, I was like, "Wait, there's more." And In Rainbows had just come out.
Oh my God.
What? So like 2008 around there?
Yeah, around there,
Okay.
yeah. And I, oh my God, I'll never forget this. We arrived late, and I was in my sweatpants, like a sweatshirt, and I had also, I had smoked pot for like one of the first times in my life.
It's a lot of
And
firsts.
I get out on the strip, and I put on my headphones, and I put on In Rainbows, and I just walk through the strip, just like super stoned, and being immersed by like everything that was fake. Like there's a fake Eiffel Tower, and there's like and I freaked out.
Yeah.
I'll
My
bet.
friends had to be like, "You're okay."
That's a proper response.
That's
Huh?
surreal.
It was just like this beautiful music that just like felt like it really it just was the perfect soundtrack to like what's wrong in the world, and then I felt like I was in the epicenter of what was wrong.
It's hard to like.
I must be missing something. There must be another side I don't see.
I'll give you the positives because they will all be happy to give you the
Yeah,
negatives.
I'll tear that
Yes.
place apart.
The
Sorry.
positives is that, Vegas is tiny. It's a small space. Okay. And you're either going to work in a casino or not. Those are your two choices. And so everybody's very transient in Vegas. They're coming from, such and such place to like make money and bounce out. They're going to be a cocktail waitress and make thousands and leave and pay for school and all that. But in that craziness, there's those gems of people that you can connect with because not everybody's on that head trip. Most people are, but then you can find these deep connections. And I will say that some of the best people that I've ever met are from Las Vegas. And the other stuff, like the weather, the transient stuff, the drugs, the fakeness, like
Let me tell you, drugs are everywhere.
oh, well,
Yeah.
that's true.
Yeah. Well, yeah. True.
But I guess I'll say it kind of reminds me of like, I live in Austin, Texas, and like, because we're in a sea of red, like people like double down on, being blue. And it's almost like when you find your people in a sea of maybe sort of like fake weirdos, like it even feels more,
Oh yeah.
like you're bonded even more, and you're more
Yes.
grateful for them, and like you sort of double down on that. So it's kind of like LA in that way too. I lived in
Yes.
LA for way too long, and it's very transient. People are trying to make something out of their life, and there's something beautiful to that, and there's something kind of weird to that.
Very weird.
It's a weird juxtaposition to be like doing any kind of spiritual anything in a place like growing up in Vegas or finding anything like that, and then walking out your door into plastic land. It's like this stark juxtaposition, and it's
Like-
in your face all the fucking time. So it's, you're,
There's no break.
I cannot. I'm a very fragile. I'm like people's energy affects me entirely too much. I'm working on that, and that would just fucking. That's why I like the forest and the Oregon. It's like I immediately feel like.
Yep.
And I feel the opposite in Vegas.
LP, like Aaron was mentioning the spiritual part. I had some super deep spiritual connections again because think about the landscape of desert. It's desolate. It's dry. So anything that thrives in there is strong
Yeah,
as
that's
fuck.
true.
It is strong. And so some of the people and some of the, most of my training in the health and wellness industry and spirituality, I got in there in Vegas. Wow. And meeting the weirdos that kind of popped up to the surface.
You had a knack for meeting like the weirdest of weirdos.
I still do.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can sense that from you. Honestly, Vegas needs more of you. So I think it was probably a very good thing you were there.
LP, I want to go back to something that you said. You said that people's energy affects you. And what you do is you are a puppet master of energy, basically. And I mean, how
on my better days.
Yeah, well, I mean, but how do you reconcile that? I mean, is it easier when it's impersonal and it's 25,000 people at a festival?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Those are like, it's so funny. I go back and I've had this conversation with some dear DJ friends, producer friends of mine. And, I'm a producer and I'm a DJ. Mm-hmm. And at a festival, and so the question is like, are you an artist or are you a DJ when you go out to play, wow. Which is two totally different skill sets, two totally different things. And audiences are educated in different ways on that, on like what dance music culture is. And some know that and some maybe don't know that yet. And at a festival, I'm an artist. There's so much space and distance between me and the dance floor. I can't read them. I mean, I feel an energy intake for sure that is, very special and magical, but it's not really a feedback loop. It's more just and I'm there to sort of maybe play more of my songs and have higher energy moments. And there's not really a journey. It's like, let me bang you in the face for an hour because that's what dance culture music festivals in the US have become.
Okay.
And it's its own beast, and there's beauty in that for sure. But the stuff that I really like, why I do this is for those tiny, sweaty, beautiful dance floor moments where you're on the same level as you should be of the dancers and the DJ. And literally the more energy they're giving me, the more I am able to output. And it is this beautiful feedback loop, and you feel like you're part of something greater than yourself. It's church for people. For myself, it is. I'm not an organized religion person, but I experience community and higher power in that space. And it is completely when I'm playing, I feel extremely fueled. Afterwards, I struggle with, and this is something I'm trying to work on, when I talk to people, and this is all on me, I wanna show up for them as they think I am. I wanna hold all this space for them. They want to tell me a story of how they've connected with me, and I just I really want to hold this space and show up. And I find that to be really special and sacred, but it also ultimately drains me. Mm-hmm. But the music, then the sets always fuel me. But the needing to make sure that I am there for this person who has come and spent their time and their energy, and I'm really working on trying to figure out how to balance my energy in those moments.
It's hard.
It's hard to be everything to everyone. You did what you needed
did your
to.
thing.
And then there's okay, it's $17.95, and now they're still holding their hand out. You pay the $17.95. You don't owe any more, LP. But I understand. No,
that's so sweet. But also,
I know
it's just a positive. They're just wanting to give love, and I've always thought of myself my whole life. I've thought of myself as an extrovert, but now I'm realizing actually maybe I'm more of an introvert than I knew, because I really need a lot of alone time after that experience, and I've never felt that before. But I also do think I'm putting too much pressure. If I could just show up I'm okay with whatever happens in this exchange, I'm sure it would be way less draining. But I'm just am I giving them enough?
Oh, you're in your head about it.
Hug, and I know that's on me, and I need to.
I think that shows that you give a shit too.
I mean, that's so much of a shit, man.
That shows that you care. Yeah. If you were just flippant about it and we're whatever, if I'm there for him or not, whatever, that would say something completely different.
Oh my God, I can't fathom feeling that way. I just feel so grateful. I mean, I've been grinding at this for 7-8 years to try to make it work. So it still blows my mind when people show up. I'm there was a shift. I played New York right before, on the end of the year, right before New Year's Eve. And it was like one of the first shifts in my career I could really feel.
Ooh.
And I just couldn't believe that many people showed up for me. Like I just like, it was just like my partner was with me and he was like, what? Like I walked on stage and it was so loud. The screaming was so loud. I could barely hear the monitors, and it was just I just want to express my gratitude in that,
Yeah.
so much that I'm draining myself to do it. But
No.
I just feel so grateful.
That was something that I wanted
Wow.
to talk to you about, is like, we're catching you, like Mel said, at a really pivotal moment in all of this. Like you've been grinding for years, and now all of a sudden you are everywhere. You're everywhere, and the crowds
Dude,
are.
I am sick of Me Too. So.
No, and
You
the
know
crowds are getting bigger.
But
and
LP, it's refreshing.
Yeah, man.
It's refreshing to have a beautiful, smiley, happy face. And like, even down to what you're wearing, that makes such a difference. Okay, again, coming from Vegas, everything's about heels, tight this, boobs out, everything out, which, you know what? I was in the industry and I helped women look like that, and I'm fine with it. I love to empower women however you want, but like,
That's the goal, is however you want to look.
However you
That's how
want.
you should look good.
exactly.
Because you want to.
I'm not hating on it.
I could talk about this specific. Oh my God, I could talk about this for fucking ever. When I first started, like in college and like post college, I was like this glam. Like I loved like disco. I threw a party with my best friend that was like disco queer, bright, like sequins. Like I wore a different sequin ball gown every night. It was like this. It was so fun and so creative and free. And then this fucking crazy thing happened. Sorry, am I allowed to cuss during the
yeah, please.
Okay.
Are you
We
talking?
can't help ourselves.
I can't believe your language.
I'm a sailor. So great.
Young lady.
So then when I started producing music, this is so silly and stupid, but when I started producing music, there obviously aren't very many of us doing that. And I realized that a lot of people weren't really taking me seriously as a producer. Naturally, there's just,
Yes.
the number game is just not quite there.
Right.
And so I started, and this was at first very subconscious, I started dressing like a dude to be taken seriously. Like I thought, like, everybody assumes like Blessed Madonna makes her own music. Everybody assumes that Nervo doesn't. And I fell prey to this, and I was just like, okay, I don't want it to be, I'm just going to dress as baggy t-shirts and sweatpants, and like, that's it. And I had this crazy moment where I showed up at a photo shoot. I was about to tour with another DJ, a dude. And I showed up at a photo shoot, do some press photos with him. And we were literally wearing the exact same thing from head to toe.
Oh, no way.
And I had this moment of like, LP, you are like, your whole mission, like your reason for existing is to empower women. And like, here you are. And I don't blame myself, I'm a product of this society. And the truth is that like, I do think that it's helpful that is how I get taken more seriously. And that's culture's problem at large. But yeah, I still to this day struggle with it. So I was struggling so hard with it that I was like, man, I hate having to think about what I wear. I hate having to think twice as hard as any other dude out here. It was, it really frustrated me. And so I was talking to my mom about this, and she was like, well, we have all these vintage Grateful Dead shirts that we've been collecting through our whole, the whole 100 shows we went to. We always bought a shirt, and we don't really wear them anymore. Would you like them? I didn't really even listen to the Dead at this point. And I was like,
How old were
yeah,
you, LP?
okay, that sounds like I love you guys. It makes me feel connected to you guys. Great. Like I won't have to think about what I'm wearing. I'll just wear a Dead shirt and that'll be that. And I started wearing these Dead shirts. And this is the power of, how we dress ourselves, I guess. Kids of Deadheads started finding me and sending me messages like, are you a Deadhead? Like I was, I'm a dance music fan. I love the dance music you make, but my parents are Deadheads, and it's so cool. It's so crazy to like see you in this, like, I started finding like my tribe. If you're raised by Deadheads, it's a very specific, I feel like I know you immediately if you were also raised by Deadheads. Mm-hmm. So I started sort of like finding my people in this way. And then somebody who's working out of a studio gave me some stems from some Grateful Dead sessions, because they're like, oh, you must be a Deadhead. I've seen you in Grateful Dead shirts. And so then through working through these stems and getting to hear, Jerry's guitars and his voice and like just really studying what was happening there made me realize like, oh my God, my parents were right. This band, they're geniuses. Like this stuff is incredible.
Right.
And then in the pandemic, when I had to live stream in front of a tiny web camera, talk about soul sucking, I decided like I had to make this as interesting for myself as possible. So I started rewarping the stems and the vocals and layering them over different beats and like sort of treating my gear as, these are the drums, and I would key all of the different piano loops or instrument loops I had, and then jam with them, and then use so I sort of started thinking of myself as a one-woman jam band. And then Bob Weir's manager saw a stream where I was doing that, and then that's how everything happened. So really, it started with the t-shirts.
Wow. Okay. And that makes sense.
It started with clothes. See, Aaron always is giving me a hard time about outfits, and I'm like, it's fucking important.
Well, like the date's in 7 months, and she's like, okay, we got to figure out what we're gonna wear.
You want to know why? Because you got to have your game ready. I am, despite what that sounds like, I am not a heavy planner. I'm most of the time I'm very
you're a heavy outfit planner.
Yes, but an outfit planner. And the reason why is because it is important. And when you go somewhere and you feel good in whatever you wear, and I'm not talking about sexy or not sexy. I'm not talking about that. Just you feel good.
Yeah.
Things change. You have this certain air and this certain attitude about you, and it makes a difference. And if you can have a little bit of an edge in an uncomfortable moment, why not?
Well, I want to take it a step further too. There is a deep, especially growing up in Eugene, you're going to know this. There's a deep history and culture around the Grateful Dead. There is deep magic in that family. It's real. It's a real thing. And those, as silly as it seems, those shirts are steeped in that. It's part of the vibration of that thing.
The DNA's in it.
It's
also how you say like you identify yourself. Like I am part of this is what I believe in. This is my ethos. This is like it's how you can immediately identify and find others that identify that same way. And actually that's so special.
You're also very fortunate to, I think being raised by Deadheads. Looking at those shirts, I was like, wherever she got these, she either spent a lot of money or somebody gave these to her, because
people have offered me an absurd amount of money for some of these shirts, and I'm obviously like over my dead body. Will these ever I'm going to pass these on to my children if I am lucky enough to have them one day? And like this is a family heirloom.
Yes.
Yes, I had no idea. and my mom kept them in. She kept them in like sealed bags, and like she really knew what she was doing.
Yeah,
Thank
she did.
God.
Yeah, they're mint condition.
Wow.
Yeah.
Shout out, Mom.
I've been jealous of some of those. Been like, where did she get that?
It just makes
explains with your parents.
It just makes me say, I wish I would have taken care of all this stuff.
So LP, you get them. You clearly acknowledge the magic then of, well, not just clothing, but the Grateful Dead and how it can turn up in such strange ways,
strangest of
and
places,
bless you in like a way that you never even could have like contemplated or even made up in your wildest fantasies. It comes up because I saw you in Relics. There was like an article in Relics, and I started reading the article, and I was like, oh my God, like she's from Eugene. Like what? Like I've never heard about her. Like we need to know about her. And then it went on from there, and I was like, oh shit. And then looking at you like when you play, and just literally the happy energy that you bring, LP, is exactly why we wanted to have you on the show.
Yeah.
We wanted everyone to know that didn't know about you to know about you, because that is so infectious. And I don't even like, you're playing some dope stuff. I'm not saying anything that, but it doesn't matter what you're playing because your energy is playing the whole room. And that's what I wanted to convey to you.
I appreciate you saying that. I'm very much a type A perfectionist to like the death of me. And I had a really awesome moment recently where, because I'm making edits before every set. I'm on the airplane. I'm just trying to like formulate the perfect set, and have I crate dug enough, and like have I made the edit of that song that I crate dug enough for into like. Oh my gosh. Okay. And I had a moment where I was playing in, this is a few years ago, I was playing, and my parents and I had an aunt and uncle there, and I was so nervous because I wanted it to be so good because I care so much what of course they would, if I farted on a mic, they'd be like, "We love you."
Yeah.
But I still wanted it to be like the best, you know?
Yeah.
And I got right up on stage, and the very first thing I did was completely mess up. Like tanked.
Aww.
Okay. Like the worst mix I don't even, truly to this day, I'm like, how did the mix go so bad? And it was the biggest blessing that happened, because I just kept on going, and I just tapped more into like, I am here to be a feedback loop of joy. And if I can find my joy, then maybe I can spread my joy. And I just dug into that, and it turned out to be the best set ever. And I realized it's not what you say, but it's how you make people feel. And so, yes, I really care about the music that I'm finding and making and spreading to other people. But at the end of the day, there's an energy exchange that's so much greater than that. And I try to focus on that when I get nervous.
Oh,
That's,
that's
it comes
one thing
through.
I wanted to say, because with your upbringing, it is very daring to do what you did with like the Garcia mix stuff. You're stepping in front of an audience that is that is like the most critical of every bit of music. And even when I first heard about you, it's like, okay, here we go. Here goes someone else. But you obviously you were raised right. You treated it respectfully. The way it came out and everything is just amazing. And I said, when we were listening to you, I was like, you know what? She is Sunshine Daydream.
Yeah.
Yep.
It was like, oh shit, she knows what she's doing.
Thank you so much for that. Every time I go on one of these shows, I'm like, okay, are they going to rip me to shreds, or are they going to? And so thank you so much for making this a safe space. And I will just say that I was raised by deadheads, but my specific lineage of deadheads is very progressive and like loving all sorts of music, and their friends are that way. So I actually was taken aback by, I've had like some haters in general, doing in my career, but never ever have I met people so mean as in this community. It's blown my mind. But it kind of, in that, at first it was like really, I was like, shoot, I was out here just like Trixie Garcia asked me to do it. And I was out here like trying to, fucking show my love and appreciate. The thing about a remix is you are never going to make it better. Of course I'm not going to make it better. That is not even sort of the goal. Like, I just, was just so honored to be able to try to put my spin on it or whatever. And when there definitely, there will always be, and still is, some really, like, some of the meanest, like, people DM, like, taking their time to send me personal messages.
Wow.
And I finally had to be like, okay, I'm going to not look at my tour manager was like, I'm going to start going through your DMs, and I'll just let you know the ones that you should look at.
Well, shit, I'm glad we made it through.
Well, thanks for being nice.
Yeah, no shit.
But all that being said, like, that to me, it just like reemphasized the power of this band, man. And I've talked to Trixie a little bit about this, but like the worship of Jerry and, the godlike stature that he took that ultimately turned out to be, not great for his life.
Not at all.
I've been really able to see that aspect of this, but at the same time, their music is incredible and it has changed people's lives. And so I absolutely get that.
Yeah.
But for me, what has counterbalanced all of that is this. Okay. And I had no idea that this would be a product of what I made. So I was playing in the sand, and afterwards this dad comes up to me and he's like, so I dragged my daughter, who's about your age, to playing in the sand because like I really wanted to make sure that she saw Dead and Co. or one of the Grateful Dead iterations, since their music changed my life. And she kind of begrudgingly came, and she said, "I'll only come if you come to the late night to see LP Giobbi because dance music is what I'm into, and I really like dance music." And he was like, "Okay." And so she went to the Dead and Co. and she loved it. She fell in love. She finally got it. Like, you have to do it live to get it, And then she dragged him to my set. And oh my God, afterwards he said, we've never danced harder or shared more love together for the 2 hours you played. And I'm sick. I don't know how much longer I'm going to have. And I know that she's going to have these 2 hours with her for the rest of her life. So thank you.
Holy shit.
I was like, yeah, that's everything
it.
to me.
That's it.
I recently played in Eugene, and this son flew in from LA and his dad flew in from Philly because his dad hates rave music, hates everything all the music his son is into. His son is a queer, beautiful man, didn't really like the whole world that he was a part of, but he was a deadhead. And so his son was like, let's go to the show. It's the first show ever that they've been to together. Wow. And I could see them in the front. They told me the story before, and I could see them in the front row hugging and sharing joy. And like, if I can be any part of bringing these two generations together, then like there's no greater honor.
That's what you're doing. That's what you're here to do. Like, our daughter is 27 years old, and she
is... a 27-year-old?
Yes.
Yeah, we have a grandson.
We're grandparents.
Yes.
That is incredible. Whatever vampire, like, whatever blood you're sucking, keep doing it.
Live music.
You know what? Like, there's
live
a lot.
Music, yes.
I told you my training was in beauty and wellness. I'm an esthetician, longtime esthetician, but also honestly, happiness. And I'm not like, but okay. So back to our daughter. She grew up also with Grateful Dead, not necessarily as much as you, because I was not a Deadhead growing up at all, but definitely with my husband, and being able to bridge that gap between, I feel like these two generations are furthest apart than any other generations could ever be, with like how people are thinking, what's going on in the world, all the changes. And for anybody to be able to successfully bridge a gap with these two generations, that is God's work for real. And I mentioned my daughter because she is also like, she DJs as well with her husband. Their DJ name is Win-Win. It's their last name. And yeah.
That's amazing.
And she has done so much to do the same thing in her own field and in her own way. And it is like literally the most beautiful thing you could ever see when you have grandparents, parents, and kids and grandbabies all in one space that can have a great time and dance it out and share and like forget about all the shit that's like pulling you apart and just be happy in the moment. And I don't know, I'm just like so grateful that you're doing this. And
sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead.
So I brought my dad to the very first, before any of this Grateful Dead stuff started happening, I brought my dad to his first rave. My parents, my partner runs some music festivals. And so they came to one of them, and my dad stepped on the field, and he's, God bless this man. He turned to me and he goes, "Oh, okay, I get it. If I was born now, I'd be a raver instead of a hippie. I would be taking Molly instead of acid, but everything else is the same. Like, this is like, the plur community, like love, being about something greater than yourself, nonstop dancing, the joy, like." And that was the first time I really saw the through line between these two communities that unfortunately like kind of is quite separate right now. But like we're all looking for the same thing. We're all looking for love and joy and community. And these two areas of music really, that's the focus of why we do this. And it was just so fucking cool to see that. And there's a point in my life where I was like, being a musician is just too selfish of an endeavor. I feel like if I really want to change the world, like I need to be an activist or, go into nonprofit work, or I was really having sort of a crisis of conscience. And it was my mom who pulled me aside and was like, whatever you want to do, obviously I support you, but the happiest hours and moments of my life were at Grateful Dead shows. When I was growing up and working whatever jobs, like those are the things that I look forward to. And after those shows, that magic would be carried with me for weeks as I got through my, mundane life. Like, that is important work. That is therapy to people. And if you can figure out a way to be your best self and show up for that, that is really important work. And I'm so grateful she said that to me.
I'll tell you seriously, like, Mel told you, we've been married 25 years and there's pivotal moments in my life, but the most transformational moment in my life is not some speech. It's not a movie. It's not a book I read. It's the moment I stepped into my first Grateful Dead concert. That changed me, honest to God. It changed me more than anything ever. It completely,
How special is that?
I wouldn't be sitting here talking to you. It's just simple. I wouldn't, none of this. And if you can be an adjunct for that kind of thing to happen in people's lives, just imagine the ripples that come out from that kind of change into the world. You're changing the world.
Yeah. Yeah.
Ripple in sweet water.
That's right.
That's right, baby.
Oh man, I appreciate you. You know, there's being a touring artist is, especially a DJ. They kind of at least if you're in a band on a tour bus, you're moving along through the country as quickly as a bus moves. But there are times where I'll be in 3 different countries in 3 different nights because they can just throw you on an airplane and ping pong you across the globe. And so a lot of my time is spent like the show is always beautiful and the hours in between are pretty grueling and kind of like extreme lows. So I say all that to say thank you for reminding me and thank you for taking this moment to sort of reconfigure my brain on like, yeah, this is really beautiful.
And look, obviously we weren't there, but I saw Playing in the Sand. Like I saw what you did. You know what I mean? Like those people were boogieing, and
I've never been 2 hours. I've never been happier in my life for solid hours. It was. There's a video I'll share with you that I posted a video and afterwards I saw that my mom was in the front row riding the rail. Like the drop of one of the remixes. I played one of the remixes and like you can hear everybody screaming and singing to it, and then the drop happens and my fucking mom is literally, I didn't notice this till afterwards, holding the rail and head banging like you want to believe.
Yeah, that would be Mel.
Just oh man, I felt like I was dead sober. I try to be sober when I play because I think that's when I can like give the most, energy. I love a good time. I love a good party, but not till I'm done playing.
Sure.
But in that moment, it felt like I had taken 100 hits of ecstasy. I could feel every dopamine, every serotonin, and it was just like, and the kind that satiates you, not leaves you craving more.
Yeah.
Like it was like the most like raw.
Wow.
I had to, as soon as it was done, I had to go in the green room and like sit down and like my partner came back and was like, oh my God. I was like, I just like
I need a minute.
And then afterwards talking to these, I've never gotten to play for just Deadheads before.
Right.
And especially leading into this, I'd gotten a lot of mean comments from the remix. So I was like, I honestly was like, this is going to go horrible. I was worried sick. I was even thinking like, should I not do this? Like, should I not be here? I don't want to be like offending this community that raised me. This community that means more, like the reason I make music is this space. And like, what if this goes bad? And they already, I was so nervous. And afterwards I went out there and just the amount of just love and gifts and like, there was a moment where I felt, a little bit like hurt by this community. And after that, I just like felt so like, no, I knew like these people are the nicest people on the planet. These people are fucking amazing. And I'm so glad I got to do that.
So
I was going to say, let me tell you something real quick. Cause we know from experience, usually the ones that are putting it down never gave it a chance.
Well, and they
never listened to it all the way through, if at all. The concept sometimes puts older deadheads off to like, you don't do that.
Apple. And here's the other part of it. And this
might not be for you, which I totally respect.
There we go.
Just don't listen to it.
Change the channel.
Don't listen to it. Don't tell me I'm doing a bad thing.
Here's my PSA to all you older heads that are listening to this and to everybody.
Because they will, LP.
Yeah.
They'll listen.
So here's the thing, man. This community, when you do that, you give all of us a bad name. It's shitty. And if you think about Uncle John's band, are you kind? Are you being kind when you do that? No, you're not.
And also come play in Uncle John's band. They're inviting everybody to do it.
You're being shitty. And I don't understand. I think maybe I don't want to put it completely on the advent of social media. But I feel like because social media, we have the ability to comment on everything. We have this notion that we can shit on whatever we want now, and it's okay, and it doesn't hurt anybody because it's behind the screen. Well, fuck that. People are real, and they're putting their heart and soul on the line to do shit that means something to them. You have no idea what their story is.
What is a city without its music?
The legacy of the New York Philharmonic is incredible.
Nearly 2 centuries of history. That's a lot of music and a lot of stories.
I was sitting on stage for the very first time thinking, I can't quite believe this is happening.
Join me, Jamie Bernstein, as we explore the history of the New York Philharmonic. It's the NY Phil story made in New York, a podcast about a city, its people, and their orchestra. Listen wherever you get podcasts.
You know, and I am a very sensitive flower. And when I first got off, like when Mark Allen, who runs his estate, and Trixie reached out to see if I wanted to do this, my first thought was, oh my God, Jerry is a member of our family.
Yeah.
Jerry's voice is like my uncle's voice. This is like, it was too overwhelming. Like the pressure, I was like, because not thinking about any of this other stuff, just thinking, I have to know I did the best that I could possibly do, you know, for myself, that I gave these everything that I had. And at this point, I'm on the road 295 days a year, you know?
Shit.
And so like, I was like, am I really going to be able to do this? Like I was so nervous that like that I needed to give as much as I could, as much as, you know, that Jerry has given to our family.
Well,
and so I was so nervous. And then when I first started reading the responses, I was like, oh my gosh, oh no, like, did I mess up? And, but I've developed a little bit of a tougher skin, you know, but my mom, I was like, Mom, I called my dad. I was like, Dad, my dad is like, whatever. I was like, Dad, you need to block Jerry's Instagram account on Mom's phone because she can't handle this.
Oh.
just have her read the comments on mine. Like, it was so funny to see. I was way more worried about my mom, you know, because this is really her people.
Yeah, man.
And I'm her daughter. We're best friends, and she's so protective of me. And I had to be like, just stop reading. Like, Mom, just like they can just skip over and listen to another song, you can just stop reading.
See, like my thought when I saw that it had been said and done and you did your job, I was like, wow, she got to have a mountaintop moment with her parents in their backyard with your talent. I was like, I can't believe how high she must be feeling.
With Bobby.
Okay, so these are the 2 highlights of this trip. So the very first night, like their flight was actually like had a layover, and then their flight to Mexico was canceled. They didn't think they could get in time, and like it was really expensive to get another flight. And you know, I was like, I got it. Like you have to get here. Like this is gonna be one of those special weekends of our. You know, she's like, it's just one night. Like we'll just miss the first night. It's okay. I was like, no, you gotta get here. And so we get there, and she gets there kind of late. But both my parents, and like we're walking along the beach from our resort to get there, and right as we roll up, they're playing Eyes of the World, which is my mom's song. Like that's her, my dad's Uncle John's band. She's Eyes of the World. And I've never been able to hear that with her live in any iteration. I never actually got to see Jerry. He passed before I could go. And so I walked up and they were playing it. Oh my God. And my mom, I don't think she knew that I heard her, but she turns to my dad. She goes, honey, we're home. Aww. And then the whole time she turns around and she's hugging my dad, and they're singing the lyrics to each other. And I just felt like, God, I can't believe I get to come from these people, you know, who just cherish this and are just so full of love and joy. And that was one of the most. I was with my partner, and I snuck a little video of it, so I could have that forever. It was fucking amazing. And I was like, I get it. Like I get this. Like I saw Mickey Hart's band. I have seen Phyllis and Friends, but I'd never seen Den & Co yet. And it was so magical. And then afterwards, the manager reached out and asked if I wanted to. He knows my parents are deadheads, and like, hey, would you like to bring your parents back to meet Bob? And so I turned to my parents. I was like, do you guys want to go meet Bob?
Holy shit!
And my mom was like, what? Like, what am I gonna say that like what, you know? And I was like, you got to do it. My mom's a little bit more shy. I was like, my dad's like, absolutely,
let's go.
Totally. So we go back there, and I wanted to get, I met him and actually he looked me right in the eye, and I don't know, maybe I'm reading too far into this, and who knows if, exactly what this meant, but he looked me in the eye and he said, "The music you are doing is good." And I think he was trying to say like, hey, listen, we got your back from, maybe some of the backlash you're getting, or maybe not, but either way, it meant a lot to me.
Yeah.
And then I introduced him to my parents, and I kind of like stepped away so that they could. And it was just so cool to see. I mean, I always say I won the lottery when I was born to my parents. They're the most magical people on the planet. And, getting to see them talk to their hero, like essentially that guy is kind of a reason that I exist, because my parents fell in love following the Dead together. And I don't know if they'd been married for 50 years. And I think that has a huge part to do with like, the love that has really solidified following them around. And so getting to see them talk, like, it was so fucking cool. And then the after party was that night,
Oh shit.
And at first there was nobody there, and I was like, you know what, it's okay if nobody comes, like I was already setting the bar low.
Right.
And then halfway through, it was more packed than any after party that they'd had ever there at that point. And the place is just erupting, and like people are singing and dancing and hugging. They're fighting my parents in the front row and realizing they're my parents, and hugging my parents and thanking them, and like it was just like, and I could see that exchange happening, and it was just the best,
LP, you're a badass.
Yeah.
You're a badass. Wow. You are.
I cannot believe how lucky I am.
You know what, man? It's so cool.
That's why it happens.
It
exactly.
is. And there's something really, like we've been saying, there's something special going on right now. Musically speaking, there's something really special happening. Like, and I like to think that it's intentional. Like guys like Bob and Trey from Fish, they're not getting any younger. That shit's not going to last forever. And they're taking people like you and Goose and Billy Strings and others, and they're propping them up in front of these audiences and introducing their audiences to these people in order for them to be able to carry on the lineage of this thing into the future. That's what's happening.
Because they realize it is, I mean, yes, they are the band that's making this music, but it's actually so much bigger than that.
It's way bigger.
And I feel like they're saying, hey, we want a place where our community will continue to feel safe.
Yes.
We want a place where our community will continue to feel joy. And it's so cool that they care enough to do that.
Right?
I mean, like that, for as an artist, I'm like paying it forward. I hope that I can always, do that. I'm learning that a lot from watching, watching Bob. My parents said, my mom goes, I just wanted to thank you for, all the joy that you have given us throughout our lives. And he looked her right in the eye and he said, the honor is all mine.
Aww.
And it was just like the most authentic thing I'd ever seen. And I was like, how many people have told him that or wanted to meet him or more, and he was just, it was so real.
It wasn't the 100 millionth time he'd heard it. It was the first.
No.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that I really took that in, like, and I was kind of talking about the anxiety I sometimes have afterwards meeting people and seeing that exchange. I was like, oh, so he's just dropping into his body, and he's just he does feel grateful for that, and that's what he's focusing on.
That's dope.
And it was a really cool learning moment for me.
LP, what was your musical turn on moment? What was it for you that like flipped your switch?
For the Dead?
No,
music in general.
Period.
Oh, for music?
Yeah.
Oh, music. Okay, well, I actually don't even remember it because I was in second grade.
Oh shit.
And I don't really have very many memories of second grade, but my mom tells me that I'm a bulldozer. I get what I want, and like I will not stop until I get what I want. Sometimes that can go really bad, and I never get what I want, but I will not stop.
Okay.
In second grade, I sat my parents. I said, we need to have a family meeting. And they're like, okay. And I sat them down and I dressed up for it. And I said, I need piano lessons. And they were like, how do you even know? Like, we didn't have a piano in the house. My parents are music lovers, but not musicians. And they're like, where, like, did you see this in a TV show or like what? And I said, I know it in my body. I need piano lessons.
Whoa.
And so they were like, okay, well, we'll work to find you a teacher. And the second time in my life that I won the lottery was when my parents found this teacher.
Whoa.
And her name's Carolyn Horn, and I have her face tattooed on my face.
Oh shit!
And they got recommended through other friends. Eugene is such a supportive community that they had a bunch of recommendations within a few days. And but she came highly recommended, and so they called her, and she said, second grade is younger than I take. I usually like to start third or fourth at the earliest, but I'll meet with her and see if I can recommend somebody. So I knew that it was a meeting, and so I wore my best gesture hat that I had gotten at the Oregon Country Fair the year before.
Okay.
And I wore overalls with 3 different layers of plaid shirts that did not match these overalls. And I put on my best bow tie, and I walked into the meeting. And
in second grade? How cute.
Oh yeah. I was like, this woman is not going to deny me. And our souls met and lit on fire. And I studied with her from second grade through 12th. She is a spark plug. Like, the fact that I got to have somebody in my life who was not my parents, another adult, be a mirror to me. And that mirror said, you are courageous. You can do anything. You are loved. You are light. I had that since second grade. Like, on the days that I didn't really want to practice the piano or whatever, she cultivated creativity by, like, we'd play the inside of the piano, or we'd play the bongos, or we would just dance. And she was classically trained. An insane classical pianist. But when I wanted to start learning jazz, she was like, okay, I'll learn it with you. She is the reason that I'm doing what I'm doing. And I can't emphasize enough. Like, the power of a good teacher is everything. And she has Alzheimer's now.
Oh.
And so she never got to see my career kind of started taking off after. If she could see it, she'd be side stage screaming and hooting and hollering. She was just powerful, said what she wanted to say with all the love, but like had more energy and more charisma. And oh my gosh, I know that she would be like over the moon. So there's days where I'm playing the piano on stage if it's a good show, and she comes to me and I can feel her. I can feel her.
There it is.
And like, I'm trying to be grateful for that. But sometimes I get pissed that I can't share this with her.
Wow, man.
Did she see the portrait on your finger?
I saw her last time I was home. I went to her home, and but it was interesting. She went back and forth between thinking that she didn't have any kids. I was probably like the closest to a daughter to her, and she thought I was her daughter. And then she would know who I was, and I don't think she quite picked up on it. Yeah. But I got to show her, and she had a Busendorfer piano. It was like, at the time, it was like there's 20 in North America when she got it. She built her house around it, and she gave that to me in her will. So
holy what?
And then she told me before she started going through this horrible dementia, she told me that when she dies, she wants to be cremated, and that she wants me to throw her ashes in the piano. So whenever I miss her, I can talk to her.
Oh my God.
Wow. What an amazing, you really did hit the lottery, LP. In life.
Lottery.
In life. Most people.
The older I get and the more I'm in this industry, the more I'm meeting other artists who, have had really a struggle to get here and maybe not as much support, and like, I hit the lottery.
Yeah, man. It's so,
and you know it. That's what's so special. It's wow.
So after, so you go do Playing in the Sand, do all this crazy shit. In the middle of all this, you're doing a new album too? Like, what?
Yes,
what are you doing? It on the plane?
It's so funny. I'm sure I'm not supposed to talk about this, but I'm going to tell you something that is a hilarious pickle because you'll appreciate it.
Okay.
So I spent the last 2 years writing an album on airplanes and trains and hotel rooms, and then this is one of the craziest weekends I played. I played LA late night, Pride in New York, and then got straight on the plane. I played Electric Forest, played an after party, had to get on a jet, get to New York, played an after party in New York, Pride, 10,000 people until 4 a.m, went straight back to the airport, flew to LA, played a show in LA, played an after party, went straight back to the airport, flew to Paris, and then I had 2 days to finish my album.
What? Holy shit.
And I was in Paris because I had an amazing team. We ran DJ Tennis and Cheever and Ashworth. We ran everything, all the MIDI parts that I was, writing on airplanes with this little MIDI keyboard. Ran it through vintage synths and layered live drums with the electronic drums. And I, as a dance artist, mostly you just release singles. And for the first time, I got to, write interludes or write songs that didn't need to stream well on streaming services, that could just be music. And so I finished this album. And anyways, the album comes out in June, and I'm doing a headline live tour around it. But Dead & Co. reached out to me to see if I wanted to join them on some of their dates for their very last tour ever, which is the exact same dates as the headline tour. So I'm like, what an insane problem to have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool.
That's a great problem to have.
I'll take that problem any day.
And actually any decision you make is going to be the right one.
Oh man, I hope. You know what? My dad always says, I try to remember this, you never know if it's going to be a broken leg day or a get out of jail day. You never know which decision is where it's going to lead. Like in the pandemic, I thought my career's over, this is it. And actually it turned out to be the best thing that could happen for my career. And it's when I got the stems for the dead. That's when I started live streaming, getting it. You never know what decision is going to be the decision. You just got to follow through and see what happens. But I obviously we're trying to make both work, and we'll see.
Wow.
Are there going to be any Portland dates?
Let me think about this. I can't remember off the top. There definitely will be
Northwest.
Okay. Yeah, I think Seattle.
Okay.
Which I was pushing. I was like, you guys, let's do Eugene. And they're like, you just played Eugene at like pretty much the biggest club you can play right now. But I'm hoping that next year I can come back and play the McDonald.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But Portland is a very important, my aunts and uncles that live there, it's a really important market to me. So next time after Seattle, I'm hoping that the next Pacific Northwest show is Portland.
Well, you got more family up here.
Yeah, you do.
Or I was going to say, one of our favorites is Cuthbert. Cuthbert
Wait,
down in Eugene.
Oh, I love Cuthbert.
Cuthbert is the most beautiful.
Oregon Country Fair people?
No, actually,
every year that we have lived here, we've had something going on that could coincide.
Are you kidding me?
No, wait. Every year. every single year. This year, though.
This year, we got invited to go on to
do spoken
word stage and to do a podcast, and so that's
we're going.
So that's
what's going on. Kind of like you've been here for 6 going on 7 years. What the fuck, guys? Why haven't you come here?
I have never missed it since the womb. Literally,
Whoa.
I've flown in from last year. I flew in from Ibiza. This year I'll be flying in from Italy and then straight back to Ibiza. It does not matter in the world where I am. I will not miss this festival.
So we get to hang out.
Okay.
I got an offer. I'm supposed to be in Ibiza. We're trying to change everything so I can come play Peach, because I've never even heard of it. But now I was talking to the guys at the Goose guys, and I was like, what made your career, like, what was the moment, And they said Peach.
It was the single. We're talking about Peach Festival, everybody. We're back. We took a little break there. It was the single most organized, coolest, curated, magical shit I have ever seen in my life.
They were
for real. They are.
They were so dope. They treated the artists right. The grounds were so perfect. It was perfect for a festival. And there's a water park. There's a ski lift.
What?
Yes.
Yeah.
There's like a lazy river, like just in the middle of everything.
There's a water slide.
So that you can like cool off and chill. There's like you
can ride the chairlifts
the gondola
up to the top of the mountain.
So they have the VIP up at the top of the gondolas if you take a little ride. I mean, it is, and then it's beautiful.
And look at y'all getting booked. So what does that look like? Is this, it's a setup like this with a live audience?
Yeah. Last year,
okay, go ahead.
Last year, there's like it's a ski lodge. It's a ski resort in the wintertime. And so there's like the lodge, where they drink cocoa and all that stuff.
Yeah, where you're a ski bunny.
Right.
Yeah, you have your lockers.
So they had like Jay Blakesberg doing his pictures displays in there and like giving a talk. And then they had us up there and we talked to like Jennifer Hartswick and Dogs in a Pile and like James Casey from Tab and a bunch of people. And then when we were leaving, we were walking out and I was like, we need to go thank the guy that booked us for it. I was like, before we leave, we need to go tell them thank you. And so we went, we found him, and I was like, look, man, I just wanted to say thanks. This was a really transformational thing for us. This was a huge deal, and I appreciate you trusting us to be here, and thank you so much. And I said, so next year we want to be on the Grove stage. And he was like, okay, let's make that happen. He's like, get with me early in the year next year, and let's start planning early. I was like, holy shit.
Yeah, you never know.
No shit, right? And so right after Christmas, I'm like, you know what? I'm going to send him an email so he doesn't fucking forget about me. And lo and behold, here we go. We're going again. So it's happening.
No way.
Yeah.
That is so okay. And then at the fair, where will you be again?
So that's what I was going to tell you. You'll appreciate this. So we were just waiting to see what was going to happen. I don't go on Facebook very often. I get a message on my phone through Facebook Messenger, and it's the guys from Peak Experience. And they're like, hey, we do spoken word, and we really think that you need to be at Fair. So Fair reached out to us to come to Fair. I was like, we can't.
And they did
not.
and they did last year too, but we couldn't do it because we were out. We were just
we
coming.
had already booked stuff.
It was Peach. We were, I think, either just coming back or something with the timing. And so
they are right.
2 years in a row.
Yeah. So I was like, we can't not. That's
so here's the thing is how cool to like, I want to go to this thing. I want to go to this thing. And then you get to go to this thing when you were invited to go do what your purpose is, you know, like this is clearly, you guys are wonderful at this. I feel so comfortable and so seen and heard this interview. And I'm so grateful. You're meant to be doing this. How cool to then, you know, get that validation and be invited to this thing that you were wanting to go do anyways. And also now that you get to camp because you're a performer, that's where the real magic happens. So it was meant to be.
Oh yeah, years ago we're like scrounging around for SOs from people, and we were
in a volunteer. They're like volunteer, and you can do this, and maybe you'll get in at night. And
also, you can work 8 hours for maybe the chance to then. I mean, it's they're brilliant, but yeah. Then a lot of my friends who are finally on cruise, like they're just dead by the time the night comes.
Yeah,
you know?
You're exhausted.
I can't wait to. I said to them the other day, I was like, how totally cool that like we get the opportunity. I'm so grateful that we get the opportunity to do this thing and like be there who we are.
Yes. LP, you know, this, first of all, can I ask how old you are?
I'm 35.
So your spirit is so youthful and so young, and you just really remind me of my daughter a lot, so much. And when I saw you, there was like this one shot that I saw of you, and it reminded me so much of Sydney, our daughter, and like I'm so happy for you. Like I feel like, yay, she's doing it. She's like a mom. Like I'm not your mom, but I just feel like this certain connection and energy to you, and to have you have this conversation today. I know that it was in my spirit that I felt like there's something about you, and I'm so grateful that we got to connect, and I'm so grateful that it's on your trajectory up, because you fucking deserve it. For whatever reason, I don't know why, but you deserve it. You just do, and you can tell. And like,
can I just say, that the coolest part about my job is getting to meet people like you guys. Like getting to meet these weird, creative, follow your dreams, you know, think outside the box people.
Yeah, for sure.
It's just like, this is the stuff of life. I mean, playing music is wonderful, and I'm so grateful for that, but it brings me to people who are just so interesting and fascinating. And I'm going to see you a few times this year, it sounds like.
Are.
And, you know, I can't wait to just drop in with you guys.
So if it's possible, if it works out, I'll stay in touch. I'll send you my number. I would love to talk to you at Peach if we can do it. If it ends up happening,
depending on
or Fair, or whichever one happens.
I would love to talk to you Anywhere.
Okay.
Anytime.
Deal.
100%. And also, did you say your daughter she's DJing?
Yes. She's actually DJing next week. They do a lot of stuff in LA. Well, they live in LA. So her husband is part of a band called Swim. He's a drummer. Cool. And they have their own band and they do DJing as well. So I'm going to send you her song that they released. It's called Pool Day. It's one of them.
I have a radio show where I get to feature, songs that I think should be featured. Please send it to me.
Oh, absolutely.
I was also going to say I started a nonprofit that teaches women how to produce and DJ. It's called FemHouse. It's my why. And it's free online courses and workshops. And then we do
she would love that.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about it because you have the hat on, and I looked at there's a link on her website.
All right, let's hear it. Let's finish.
Yeah,
let's
we
hear that.
do. The industry, it's actually been so. I started this. So I was like, here's the thing, like more female producers. Does that change the world? I don't know, but thinking that you can do anything does change the world. Mm-hmm. So we just happen to be doing that through electronic music, and we are doing what's been so shocking in the best possible way is that the industry cares and, they're supportive and maybe they don't know how to make these changes, but they want to. And so we're doing a stage takeover at Halloween and we do it on EDC and ArcFest and because it's hard to be what you can't see. So we're trying to get more women on those lineups. And then we also offer educational courses to learn the technical aspects of making music. But, would love to be linked with your daughter if she's into this stuff.
Absolutely. So she would freaking, that's one of her, she's literally a jack of all trades. This woman is and she's a freaking mom. I don't even know how she does it. I don't live near her, so she doesn't have grandma and grandpa around to take care of this angel heart that she created. He's already modeling. She's a model and an actress and a dancer and a DJ. I'm telling you, she's badass. She's my hero.
Yeah, I whispered to Mel in the when we halfway through our conversation today, I pulled Mel's earpiece off. I was like, we have to introduce her to Sid. You guys need to know each other.
I absolutely love that. And I'm in LA all the time. Right. So
my gosh.
Feel free to link me over text or email
we're after the show.
Also, I'm just going to chat you guys in the chat right now. If you can see that, I'm just going to give you my phone number. So you have that.
I love you, LP. Without any restriction. I love you so much. I'm not kidding.
The exact same way. My people. It's just
we're your people.
The coolest thing about this remix project is that it has brought me closer and closer to my people.
And it's helped. What you were doing free that orchestra. I watched it at least 8 times. I watched it at least.
So that happened a month before Playing the Sand, and afterwards, I walked off stage. My parents were there. I fell in their arms sobbing, and I was like, "I'm retiring. This is peak. This is it. This is it. We've reached the pinnacle." And then Playing the Sand happened, and the first thing my dad said to me was, "So good thing you didn't retire."
Leave it to Dad to always bring it back to a level,
He said, "Yeah, the magic doesn't stop. The magic."
Right?
What's your parents' names?
They're Mike and Gail. And actually, I'm sure that I'm taking up way too much of your time.
No, we're home, girl.
One more fun fact about my dad. So I was touring in Australia sometime last year, and I was feeling so ungrounded and starting to feel kind of lost. And it kind of got a little bit scary for me. My mental health wasn't in a good place. I was tired. I was just I wasn't grounded.
Right.
Yeah.
So whenever I'm home, which is more and more rare, but whenever I get to go see my parents, my dad and I do this thing where we write a poem back and forth. So he'll write in his notebook, he'll start a line, then I'll do another line until the poem is done. So I reached out to him and I was like, "Hey, I'm feeling pretty ungrounded and you're one of my favorite roots. So do you think that we could flow right now? Write a poem? I'm about to go on stage soon, but." So we went back and forth, and he knew I was in Australia, so made a reference to where I was, and then we wrote this poem, and this always happens right as I was going to go on stage. It just magically wrapped itself up, and that just feels like it's kind of par for the course now. Mm-hmm. So before every show, we do this together. We write a poem, and then at the end he sends me an email with he'll bold, mine is in bold and his in whatever, and then I'll be like, Leah in London, Dad in Eugene. Leah in Oaxaca, Dad in Eugene. And it's this kind of journal of my touring and also like how I'm feeling. And, some of them are hilarious. Like the last poem just like referenced the Merry Pranksters, and like we went off and off on that. And some of them are hilarious, and some of them are dark, and I'm like having a hard time. And then after the show, call me and just, check in, and just, man, I feel so grateful for that. So I showed my managers, and I'm about to release this vinyl, my first album, which is called Light Places, from, once in a while you get shown the light in the strangest of places if you look at it right. And Light Places LP, my dad and I kind of came up with that together. So my sister-in-law, I sent her all the poems from last year, and she animated all the poems. She's so talented and wonderful, and we bound it into a book. And it's going to be the first X amount of people that buy my vinyl will get this book as well. And I got to give it to him for his birthday. So his 70th birthday happened to be my first hometown show ever in Eugene, when I played for the Garcia Remix album release party.
Holy shit.
Like, are you like, the universe was just like winking and smiling.
Giggling.
And so I got to give him this book, right before the show. And it was just. Yeah,
it's so funny. You said you guys were doing that, like creating the poems together, and I thought, oh, she's got a coffee table book right there. That's a coffee table book.
Totally. And I was like, I want to just make, for his birthday, I want to give him something. Like, I want to figure out a way to, make these. And my sister-in-law, God bless her, is like, ooh, I could animate them. And like, ooh, I know this printer, and like, and then this thing. And now, when I'm not able to write with him for some reason or another, I carry the book with me, and I look at it, and it reminds me, like, some shows I get really nervous, and like, it's almost like, is this worth it? Like, I feel so sick. I'm about to go be judged by a room full of people. And then I remember, like, what's important? Mm-hmm. Human connections, and like the human connections I'll have with the dance floor, and like with the people I love, and that's it.
That's it.
I love that.
Wow.
You know what, man? I want to say I'm sorry on behalf of the Grateful Dead community that was ever mean to you, and just tell you that.
But
I mean it.
But it builds character. It does build character.
You know what? I'm sorry. You did not deserve that at all. And that's shitty. And we love you.
You know what? I actually am one of the most privileged people on the planet to be surrounded with so much damn love, to be born into a family with so much damn love. So, but
you're giving it back, LP.
You're doing the right thing.
That's the thing. You've been given so much, and you can give it to 25,000 people, and it's no big deal. That's a special kind of.
You're still going to give it to the people that are mean to you,
and
because that's what we do.
Those people need
really
love
need
more.
it. They need a really big hug.
The world needs it.
I hope that one day I get to hug them.
Yeah. All right, LP. I got your number. We'll stay in touch.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, stay in touch.
All right.
Thank you guys.
This was amazing.
Much love, sis.
Thank you.
We'll see you soon.
Okay, bye.
Oh, sweetness.
Okay. So yeah, that was
awesome.
LP Giobbi, everybody.
I love her.
We already loved her just watching her.
I loved her from Relics magazine.
Amazing.
I remember I showed you.
Yeah,
I was like,
we need to get her on the show.
Yeah, I was like, because her smile. There's something about her smile. I know everybody's smile is great, but like, she again, like there was something about her that reminds me of Sydney, and it's not like they look alike. It's just
the energy.
It's the energy.
It's the energy.
One of the most
you get shown the light.
That's one of the most genuine like people and smiles and everything
from the
hearing
get-go.
about her life.
It makes a lot of sense. That's deep rooted Oregon Country Fair family right there. You know what I mean?
You know what?
Fun. We got very emotional too.
Mike and Gail, congratulations and thank you for creating such a beautiful human being for the world to have. Like for real. Like that. You two have done an incredible job not only raising her, but her head is on right, and I'm like wowed.
And you know what? Like the whole thing with people being mean, and I understand.
Well, you've been in
get
that
it.
cup, not with her, but like,
I've never slid into somebody's comments and been shitty.
What I just mean is like really like, the dead music or like trying to, that's what I mean. Not like bad.
Here's the thing, like the universe is selective in who it puts out front a lot of the time. And especially more so in this community than others, there's not a lot of garbage. And so if something is out front and you're seeing it often, pay attention nowadays, man. I'm not talking about pop culture. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about our community. If something's rising to the surface of this community, it's because it deserves it right now. That's where I'm coming from.
That's a good point, babe. That's a really good point.
Yeah, I'm not talking about the bullshit on TV and the bubble gum and
that kind of attitude that she's got deserves to be like recognized and like spread for everybody to see.
Yeah, and it's hard to argue with who we consider our heroes when Trey and Bobby and all them are recognizing these people. There's no ploy in it or bullshit or anything other than what we were saying earlier. And of like, they're recognizing this is what's going to carry on this legacy. And I want my audience to realize this because I love them.
Yeah. And here's the thing. It doesn't have to be for you. It doesn't. It just have respect, man. You know, have some respect. Like, these people are, look, yeah, she gets to travel all over the world and do all that stuff. And that's awesome. That's hard as shit. Make no mistake. That's exhausting. It's emotionally tiring. It's mentally fatiguing, all that. And she's doing it so that she can bring joy to people. And even if you don't like it, just keep your mouth shut, man. Just, that's not my cup of tea. I'm turning the channel.
I was going to say, that's what I do in life. If I come across something I don't like, whether it be food, drink, music, I don't do any. I don't immediately go to you guys. Don't fucking do that. That's fucking bull. Because that's just your opinion.
I will say, you know, at the beginning of No Simple Road, there was a lot of music that I didn't know about that you would bring to No Simple Road. And I was like, I don't know this music, and kind of immediately had a negative attitude about it, whether I did end up liking it or not. And what I realized is that when people are actually doing their craft and are bold enough and talented enough to make an album or play a concert or whatever, to share it, find the way to appreciate what they've done. Well, that's what I have done, because I was like, I don't know such and such. I don't know this. And I was like, do you know how much guts it takes?
That's what I was going to say.
To put your lyrics, your music, your time and energy in front of people to be critiqued, to be applauded or booed. And No Simple Road is what has helped me get that inner critic out and try to find what is good in this.
I just think about like somebody like LP. You're standing backstage. There's all these people out there, and you have to walk out there alone.
That's true.
You have to walk out there. It's you. There's not a band out there. It's you by yourself behind your equipment. And now go.
Yeah. 1, 2, 3, go.
And
that's all you.
Look, man, even if I didn't like it, I have to respect that courage.
The game.
Yeah.
What goes
that
into
kind
that.
of courage,
it's
man.
like coming out naked in front of
exactly.
everybody.
That's
literally
huge.
what that is like. Like, okay, you've got your cute outfit on, but you're coming out naked in the sense that your hands, your mouth, your talent, that's what's exposed.
Like that Relics article and stuff that like speaks towards how much she puts into this. Cause it's talking about like people ask her like, how do you plan? You don't know. She says she doesn't. It depends on the time of day, who's opening, who's closing, what's the weather like, what's going on, where in the world are you at? Like so many factors come into it. That to also become your own producer and be doing all of this and everything, she is like a one per.
And we didn't even get touch the surface of her nonprofit or. There's so much more.
There's more there
that's going on.
I'm glad we saved some for later.
That's right.
Yeah.
Me too.
Yeah.
All right. So for everybody out there, I hope that you can appreciate it. You know, it doesn't got to be your new favorite, but if it is, dope, and if it's not, be kind. You know, let's be nice to each other.
Thank
right?
goodness for people like her that are opening this to a younger audience to bring them into the dead community, because that's what she's doing on her
Thank
end.
God for bringing in fresh air and new, like.
And they're much more accepting. They are growing up in a more accepting world of everything. And
I said that to a friend of ours. I was like, you know, she's spinning Jerry's lyrics to people that normally wouldn't have heard it, and a lot of people nowadays, when they hear samples of stuff, they're like, ooh, I'm going to do the deep dive on that. That was cool. And then all of a sudden, next thing you know, here come the dead, you know?
Yeah.
So it's
If the
what's
Dead,
happening right now
wait
is
a
really
minute.
cool.
If the Dead can appreciate and invite her out to one of their final times touring, then shut the fuck up. She got invited.
Mom has spoken.
Shut the front door.
That's what I'm sorry if I hurt your feelings just now, but shut the fuck up, Bobby. They invited her. She's the one that got invited. She didn't call them and be like, hey, what do you think? No. They reached out to her. So if they can accept it and like know that their lyrics are changed and their beats are changed and think it's rad, then so can you.
And that part of the conversation too is so amazing, because that wasn't about her. That was about her getting to say, hey, Mom, Dad, do you want to come back and meet Bobby?
Mm-hmm.
Like, that was all about her parents and everything they did, bringing her up, for her to be able to be like, oh my God, I get to do this.
So that was amazing.
LP, you're amazing.
Yep. Thanks, LP. And everybody, we'll be back on Monday with another installment of the No Simple Road Weekly Rewind, where we hang out and just the three of us talk about stuff. And that is done in collaboration with our amazing friends over at the Edible Beats in Denver, Colorado.
And if you haven't ordered their book, The Edible Beats,
It's a
their
zine.
Yeah, do it. There's some kick-ass recipes that anybody can make.
Chinese 5-spice punch.
It's gorgeous. Like, just, support.
Anyway, so that'll be on Monday. And until then, you know what you should do? You should smile at a stranger, and safety third.
Be
hydrate,
kind.
And
Yeah, be kind.
It's getting to be that time of year when it's going to turn from winter into spring.
Well, we just had that imbol.
Yeah. So it's that time of year, what Mel just said. And
You said it.
It's time to get your garden beds ready. So all those weeds that have been like dying in the garden right now, it's when it's not raining, if you're up here in Portland, go out there and like get that stuff out of there and get the earth ready to start planting some stuff, because it's time to get some shit growing. We love you guys.
right.
We'll be back on Monday. We'll see you soon. Peace.
Hey listeners, I want to tell you about the April-May 2023 issue of Relics magazine. Features a Dave Matthews Band cover story with additional articles and interviews with The National, Graham Nash, Wayne Shorter, ALO, Ivan Neville, our friend Eric Krasno and Stanton Moore, Marty Stewart, and much more. Check out the latest version of Relics and subscribe now at relics.com/DMB. Thanks, Relics.
Mechanism as well as a fear. We've traveled this road before, so we may think, but it's a tad bit of strange similarities that feed an A = A complex. The fears of your past do not equal the perplexities of the current road.
Ever wonder what a punch from Elton John feels like?
Or how you'd cope with having turned down the chance to be in Nirvana?
Or what signal Keith Richards gives when he wants you to get the hell out of his hotel room?
Fans of Too Much Effing Perspective don't have to wonder, because they've heard these exact stories and a jillion others on our podcast. I'm Alex Hoffman, former tour manager for Radiohead.
And I'm musician and comedy writer Alan Keller. On the TMEP show, we get guests like Nancy Wilson from Heart, Jeremiah Freites from the Lumineers, and Modern Family's Julie Bowen to tell us things they may have only shared with their therapist, clergy, or a TMZ stringer.
So join us on Too Much Effing Perspective. That's EFFING Perspective. The only podcast you crank up to 11.